What's going on, Tamers? Welcome to DigiPod, the digital podcast. I'm your boy Varney, today in the studio with my boy Dan. What's up?
Yes, sir. What's going on, Varney?
We doubling up. It's a double podcast this week, although if you guys are listening to this, you are most definitely hearing this after, 5-6 days after we record this. Something
Maybe.
like that.
I don't know when we're going to drop this, but we felt that was too much news plus the interview for us not to do a double pod. And we just need to get that information out as soon as possible.
For sure. I'll say if you're a YouTube member, you will be seeing this early for sure. Because YouTube members see everything early. Because, well, they pay. And they deserve some kind of benefits for supporting us. And that's our way of supporting you. So if you guys do want to see these types of podcasts earlier when they come out, because there might be more of them in the future, join YouTube and you'll see it when it drops. Now, with that all in mind, like Dan said, there's so much news that happened because, we had our interview with Peter. We already had that lined up. But Digimon Con was this past weekend. And while there wasn't a lot of news, there was also a lot of news. It depends on what you like. If you're a Digimon fan,
absolutely not.
It sucked. Straight up. If you're a Digimon card game fan, we ate.
Yeah, for sure. I was so depressed because I was like, no new news on anime, no new news on game. And it sounds like maybe the next news for game-wise might be April, they said, possibly. I'm hoping, there's an actual substance, maybe a title of a name, something. Give us anything. Right? Not just, we're developing a game still. Come on. There's no way you're still developing the same game for the last 4 or 5 years. But I digress.
Yeah, it's a tough day to be a Digimon fan. Because you got nothing out of Digimon Con. If you enjoyed it, you enjoy it. I enjoyed the presentations and stuff. But
fantastic. It was more of a celebration of Digimon. Not like anything. It was
an actual, news conference, which is kind of what we expected, right? The card game nailed it. They said,
that's odd, yeah.
we already know what y'all want. We gonna give it to you. And we got tons of information, which is primarily what we'll be going over because, well, like I said, there's nothing.
We're a really Digimon card game podcast, so that's the part we're gonna focus on.
Now, we would talk about locals, but we already talked about it, and we would talk about Q&A poll results, but we already talked about it. So we're kind of just gonna be jumping straight into our main topic here. As such, this will most likely be a shorter podcast, but never put it on Dan and us to not shut the hell up and just run our mouths for the rest of this however long we record.
For sure.
So our first topic that we're going to talk about, we finally got word. I guess the most important thing to start with is, as of December 2023, we got a new English card game producer. Her name is Chi. Now, I don't know if she's new in that she replaced somebody or new as in they created the position and said, English now has their own producer. No news on that because I didn't even know there was an English card game producer prior. So regardless of what, we have an English card game producer. And one of the biggest, arguably the biggest change, it's the only thing that she's done in that we know of in the last 4 months is saying, hey, we're going to align the Japanese and English releases. And that is huge. Now, obviously, first of all, we spoke about this previously on podcast. So today we're just going to elaborate more. You're going to hear a lot of what has previously been said, but we have new information and that's what we're going to be talking about.
Plus confirmation of what we thought could happen.
Exactly. So I know there's a lot of, it kind of feels like there's a 50-50 divide on the community. Half of the community is yes, global set release. And the other half is I get global set release, but the way that they're going about it is wrong. So before we get into any of that, let's talk about what the set release is. So they are doing another release special booster. They are going to be called version 2.0 and 2.5. If you guys started the Digimon card game right when it came out, we got BT 1 and 2 in release special booster 1.0 and 2 and 3 in release special booster 1.5. That's exactly what's happening here. We're getting BT 18 and 19 in version 2.0, slated to release on November 2024. There it is, RSB 1.0. And we are about to see this again 3 years later in the card game. Oh, he's even got a 1.5 box.
Yes,
this guy's dedicated. This guy's a Digimon player. 2.0 is scheduled to release on November 2024. 2.5, which contains part of BT19 and BT20, is scheduled to release on February 2025. So that is about a 4-month gap, depending on like when the actual dates are. It's about a 4-month gap between the two. Let's talk about the product release lineup, because we're basically, there's no ifs, ands, or buts. Once you say global set release, you're gonna get slammed with product. Here's how it's going to go.
It's not too bad though. Like it could have been worse. It could have been worse.
It definitely could have been worse, but things are definitely crunched. And if you are used to spending money on Digimon every few months, well, you should start saving up some money if you like some of the sets that are coming out. We just got BT15 last month, and now we got the Starter X this month, but I don't count Starter X because you buy 2, you're done with it. It's not like buying a box.
For sure.
February is when BT15 came out, so we have March, April, May. So we have about 2.5, 3-ish months of BT15. In May, BT16 drops. In June,
for sure,
EX6 drops. Now, if you don't know what those sets are, BT16 is called Beginning Observer. It is basically an O2 set based off of the movie with some support for Rapidmon, Magnamon, all of the armors, and a bunch of different stuff. EX6 is called Infernal Ascension. That set is basically Angels and Demons. You got your 7 Great Demon Lords, you've got Devimon, you've got Dominimon, and all of that stuff, Mastimon, Ophanimon, Ragnalord, all that stuff is EX6. So that's May and then June. In July, we have nothing. In August, we have BT17, which is known as Secret Crisis, which is a movie-based set. It takes from all of the movies in the Digimon universe.
Almost.
Almost all of the movies. You've got your Diaboromon, you've got your Trash Eosmon, you've got your Gallantmon, you've got your Emperor Greymon.
Not Emperor, Ancient.
Sorry, not
Ancient.
Emperor. Ancient Greymon, Ancient Garurumon.
Yes.
What else am I missing there? You've got Shine Gray. You've got
Argomon.
Well, you got Greymon. Greymon's one of the secrets. You've got Argomon.
Omnimon. You got all your Paladin mode. You got all your favorite movies.
Exactly.
Outside a couple others, but
outside of a few.
And their villains.
You've also got new Seekers support.
Yes.
The culmination of Seekers support, we should say. We just got the Kazuchimon on reveal, so we're expecting to see the level 7 for that deck, or the 2 decks, or
a new Fenrirmon as well.
It's a new Fenrir-Lugamon.
But no, I'm talking about a new Fenrir plus the Secret is going to be the level 7 version. I think they're going to drop a new Fenrir.
I don't know if we'll get a new Fenrir.
It looks like we might.
If we do, it'll be a rare.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know if we'll get a new one though. It would be interesting if they do. I am interested to see it nonetheless, but we're definitely getting the level 7, and I can almost guarantee at this point, which I've been saying it from the beginning, it's going to be a secret. Reason why? It's an X antibody, and it's the culmination of Seekers.
Yes.
But it's an X antibody, and that's the most important thing. Alphamon went from being a secret on his own, then he got the BT9 support, in which he was a rare, but then he also got a secret in that set as well.
Probably one of the most cracked rares that you could ever see in a game.
That was like good. That's such a good rare too. So that's most likely what's gonna happen. Well, not most likely. I'm almost positive that's what it is. Takumi Kazuchi mode is the other secret. Everybody was like, oh, it could be Parrotmon, it could be this, it could be that. I was like, no.
Yeah.
Y'all don't understand. It's X antibody. It's the culmination of Seekers. It's Takumi Kazuchi mode. But that is BT17. So that was August, right? In September, we are getting EX7 and Starter X 18 and 19. It may sound like a lot, but it's not. EX7 is the Digimon Liberator set, which we will be talking about later. But if you don't care for Liberators, you don't need to buy it. I guarantee you might like Liberators, because
there's probably going to be more stuff than just Liberator specific Digimon. So you might still need to get it.
Even if it's not, it's an entire set based off. That's in September, right? So the webcomic premieres in April. So we've got April, May, June, July, part of August. That's
by
almost
then,
5 months.
By then we got some spicy cards possibly, and hopefully we get them in that same set.
When EX7 starts unveils, which is soon because BT17 unveils are almost done, y'all gonna be like, damn, Liberators. But that is September. October is nothing. And then, like I said earlier, in November, we get RSB 2.0.
Yes.
Skip December. In January, we get EX8. We don't know what EX8 is. No. We also don't know what BT19 and 20 is. We know BT18 is called...
Oh, is that the...
Elemental Successor.
Is the Beelstar Ace Day revealed? And what set was that?
Liberators.
Was it? It was EX07? Okay, never mind.
We'll get there. But BT18 is confirmed to be named Elemental Successor.
Yes.
It is a Frontier set, and we are also getting 2 characters. I said 2 characters will be like getting support in that set. Those characters being Zenith and Owen. Which if read the prologue, Owen Dreadnought. If you read the webcomic or
one of the coolest last names. Whose name is just Dreadnought? Like
Dreadnought got his ass kicked in by a damn Galactic Mon. But
stop it! We're gonna get to it.
We'll get there. We're getting that. We don't know what BT19 and 20 is. So November is RSB 2.0. December is skipped. January is EX8. February is RSB 2.5. March is skipped, and April is expected to be BT21.
That is World
Unification release. Yes, Worlds, potentially. Now,
and also
that was a
global.
lot.
Yeah.
That was a lot. That was for us over here on the English side. For the Japanese side, let me tell you how much they have slowed it down. In April next month, they're getting started at 18 and 19. In May, they're going to get EX7. That's Liberators. In June, they get BT18. They skip July, August. In September, they get BT19. Skip October. In November, they get EX8. Skip December. In January, they get BT20. Skip February, March. April's Unified Set release. I wanted to emphasize that because I read a few comments that was like, oh, why do we have to get our release schedule sped up? Why don't you slow down the Japanese side of things? That is slowed down. That, in my opinion, that is super slow. Because if you guys know anything about the Japanese card game market, that shit's volatile. They say the Japanese, they don't have the attention span. Like the reason that shit releases so quickly over there is because, well, first of all, I mean, even just the reason they have best of ones, the entire thing is get in, play your games, get out, because we got more games to support. They're playing OG Battle Spirits over there. They're playing Duel Masters. They're playing Yu-Gi-Oh! They're playing Pokemon, Digimon. They're now playing Fusion Worlds because that's a global game now. They've got other games that we don't even know about over there. So first of all, those card shops are supporting a lot more games. And arguably, the card game market in Japan is a lot more cutthroat. This release schedule, in a way, it's kind of like sketchy because it's like almost 3 months between set releases for Japan when they're, only playing best of ones. We're used to it over here. But for them, where stuff is like always fast paced, they're always moving.
I think it's also on par with the normal Bandai release of having 4 core boosters, 2 side sets, and then like 3 to 4 starter decks. I think still technically, it just seems like a lot less because it's from April. We're seeing from that product release lineup from April to next year's April, and compared to ours and theirs looks kind of slowed down. But I don't know. I think that's maybe a tad slow.
No, because, they just got EX6
they had BT
in. Was that this month for EX6 or was that last month?
Yes. Like remember, usually most time it's 4 sets and then 2 side sets per year.
So I'd say they probably would have tried to squeeze in a 4th EX set because from May and then they go 6 months until the next EX set.
Yeah, that sounds about right though.
Does it though?
Yeah,
because I guess. I don't know. It just seems so long compared to like what we've known previously. Like
I just
they got
think
BT
they just
16.
I think they did slow down.
Right?
They slowed down from September to January, though. For sure, that's the slowdown spot. June to September, I think that's kind of normal normally. But September to January, that was at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 months with a side set in between.
And then
that's a big, because usually it probably would have been
like another starter deck.
January would that BT20 like probably set? Yeah, BT20 probably would have been, let's see, September, October, probably more like beginning December instead of January.
December, yep.
Yeah. That's where it probably would have been normally.
I think another thing to consider too, right, is you like a lot of these dates were like already concrete when they announced Unification. Like,
yes.
If she came on board in December and she made this decision in December or January, BT18 was probably already locked in. That's 6 months out.
100%.
You've already got did I say 16 or 18? Whatever I said. BT18
no, 18.
BT18 in June. Like I said, I don't know how far in advance that they're working on sets, but obviously, like as of right now, BT17 is done. I would say that EX7 is done, and they're probably done or close to being done on BT18. So,
yes,
with that in mind, like they already had it, by the time she came on, June was the date for BT18. There was no pushing that up or pushing that behind because they've got cards to be printed, distribution to get through, blah, 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 logistics this, blah, blah, blah. So, like, I agree. If April, May, June looks fine, everything after looks slow AF. And that's because they're like, all right, cool.
That's the slow spot, yeah.
Slow all of that down so that English can catch up. But, like, again, it's like, Japan is going to be playing some long sets. I don't think they've seen like EX sets. Sure, they changed things up. I think even looking at EX6, it was not to the level that EX5 is. I still think EX5 is like, but in fairness,
well,
I did watch
EX06 just dropped on it, so we can't for sure say like so how much it's going to be.
East just did the week 1 meta report for EX6, and he's going to be doing another. He said, like, they had some Japanese only events at Worlds, but people kept a lot of stuff like hidden. Nobody wanted to let anything get out and around. So, you know, we'll take that for what it is. I'm just saying, in terms of like looking at the sets, like when we looked at EX5, we were like, holy shit, like, what is this shit? Like, Anubismon, the Garurumon support, the X-Antibody Proto, the Leomon support. A lot of that stuff just looks so
Divas,
like out there. Yeah, and Divas as well. Divas. We're gonna get called out on that.
Divas, my fault.
Divas. Bang long in the Divas. But like EX7, I'm not saying it's not like a goated set or anything, but
six.
Like, sorry, EX6. I'm looking at the chart here. Just looking at EX6, it's got great stuff for sure. To be seen if it's EX5 power level, you know. I mean, Anubismon got hit, and Garurumon.
I know 3 cards. So obviously, 3 cards got hit, right?
Right.
But EX6 is looking really strong. I don't know if it's going to be, I guess, power level that because they were just inherently broken cards.
Right.
But those cards were looking kind of crazy though. Like they were.
Like I said, it's got some good looking cards. So we'll see how that
deck,
set
you
looks.
Know, the Shaka, right? That's the name.
Shakamon.
Shakamon. That some of that was kind of looking kind of crazy. What else? The Diobormon support looked really good. It sounds like maybe people are waiting just for BT17 because they know that's the real support, like with the new WinCon and stuff, possibly. But I think even just alone that EX6, that EX6 plus the Ace kind of makes that deck relevant again. So I would love to see how it goes with JP. And what else it was dropped? Oh, the new Angemon support, right?
Dominimon and all the 3 great angels.
A lot of that also is really good. Really good cards. So I would love to see how that pans out for them.
Yeah, so if you guys don't follow East, this is the part where I plug a fellow content creator. You guys should go follow East. East is definitely one of the best Digimon YouTubers out there. He He makes great content. He lives in Japan. He plays the Japanese meta. So if you're looking ahead, that's the place to look. That's where we get a lot of our information from. Now, with that all in mind, like, they're on EX6 now. EX7 is basically in 2 months. The BT18, and then everything just slows down for them. Meanwhile, we're just boop, boop, set after set after set. Because we're going BT16 2 months, let's say 3 months later, we get BT17, but in between that, we got EX6. 3 months later, RSB 2.0. 3 months later, RSB 2.5. We also got EX7 in between and EX8 in between that. Like, it's just, if you hate spending money, you're gonna fucking hate this period of time. I'll say
Imagine
that.
this.
If you don't like EX sets,
right? Imagine this.
You save some money, but
if they didn't do that for the special booster, right? What if they if they had them separated? Do you know how crazy that would be for those people?
That was my next point.
Go ahead.
If they did separate releases, right? So BT17 in August, EX7 in September, skip October, 18 in November,
we would have to get that in December or January, and get EX6
in February, but then BT20 in March.
Yeah, that's just not happening.
We're not even talking like if it's a side set following up a main set, it's okay. Like, you don't have to buy the side set stuff. Like, EX5 had a lot of great cards in it, but unless you wanted to play those decks in particular, you didn't need to buy it. Now, EX5 going into BT15, like the Gobblemon stuff, yeah, you generally want to buy some of BT15 or some of EX5 and then some of BT15, but buy the singles. Everything else, though, you didn't need to buy the two to have them coincide. But if we had that type of release schedule, we'd basically be getting a main set like every month and a half to 2 months is about how it would pan out, and I think. And I think that's a lot for a main set. Yeah,
that's way too much for a card game within like a 4 or 5 month period. And that's bad for, I think for us as the players, because then you don't get the chance to fully invest for some people, because a lot of people like to buy cases. So now they got to choose which case to buy, because there's no way you're going to be able, unless you have that type of money and you have income that you don't care, buy a case every month or whatever, or 2 cases every month. If you can do that, great for you. You know what I'm saying? But not everybody's like that. Some people only could buy a couple boxes here and there. And sometimes, that's rough to have, especially main sets back to back to back like that. I think having them combined like this was the perfect storm for what they could have done. That's what I prefer when we first talked about this, right?
Right.
And it was just a matter of how they were going to do it. And it makes it not feel as bad. Now you just buy that set and you get whatever you need from it. And then you call it a day. Whether pull rates are going to be good or not, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Pull rates are going to be skewed a little, unfortunately. But I'll take that over having to buy, set after set after set after set after set in a very short amount of time.
Now, I want to put something in perspective, because I think a lot of people then are just going to say, just buy the singles. Yes, but no. BT15 just dropped last month, and I have 3 months until BT16. I bought 4 boxes of BT15. I might have bought a 5th. Let's say max. No, I bought 6. I bought 6 total boxes of BT.
You bought 6, yeah.
That's fine. In terms of money spent, what is that? 8, 16, 32. That's almost $500.
Yes.
For people who are buying a case, you're spending close to $1,000. But let's just say the average person spends $350 on 4 boxes. That's including tax, whatever your tax rates are. $350 on 4 boxes. Now let's put it in perspective. If we have BT17, I spend $350. EX7 comes out. I love Liberators already. I'm buying some shit Liberators.
Would you say $350?
Realistically, that's another $350, right? Yep. I'm buying at least 4 boxes.
I got the math here. Go ahead, continue.
We skip October. If BT18 was dropping in November, another $350. Yep. If BT19 was dropped, let's say you skip December. Let's say it's the tail end of December or the beginning of January for BT19, another $350.
For sure.
And then in the middle to the tail end of February or March, you're getting BT20. That's another $350. But EX8 is also slated in between those.
And let's say you get another 4, right? Yeah.
That's another 4. That period of
that's $2,100 right there.
That of August to February, how many sets was that? 17, 18, 19, 20, EX7, EX8. 6 sets. That's 24 boxes, $2,100. In this way, and that's with like a month of break in between, right? That's not even to say like, oh, like, I just spent $350. Like, what I was trying to say is, I just spent $350. I don't have to spend $350
until 3 months,
until May.
Mm-hmm.
I do spend more than $350 because I'm buying my single alt arts, but that's me being extra. That's besides the point. If you're buying singles, your Ryudomons right now, maybe $6-7. Your Gatomons, well, they were $5 at one point. It looked like they were up to like
Gabu,
9 or 10 the other day.
$10.
Gabu's was 10. They might be down a little bit, but like, let's just say you spend another $100 in singles.
Mm-hmm.
You spent $450, and then you don't have to spend any more money on Digimon until May. If you had these sets back to back and you're like me and Dan, and we have the income to do it, so we're not saying that like we don't have the money to do it. I also would like to not have to do it if I don't have to. In this way, I'm gonna spend $350 in May. I was gonna spend a lot of money on EX6. I was spending a lot of money on EX6 in June.
Just keep it at $350 for now.
Let's just keep it at $350. I get a month break. BT17 comes around. I'm going to be honest. I do like BT17 a lot, but me personally, I won't be buying too many. I'll probably buy like 2 boxes, but I'm going to be buying more singles for that set because the only thing I really truly care for is Gallantmon and Fenry. Everything else, like, I'll be damned if I pull fucking Eosmon shit. I don't want that shit. I'll buy Dioboromon stuff.
Look, I need you to pull Dioboromon so I can have Dioboromon, all right?
You can have it if I pull it because I'm going to be searching for other stuff, but I don't care to play anything hybrid related for red and blue. I don't care to play what was some of the other support that we got there. Shine. I'm not playing Shine. I'm not playing anything Imperial. So BT17 for me, that's a single set. I already singled that out. But I'm still gonna buy like 2 boxes. $150, right? 160. EX7 Liberators. That's where I'm prioritizing. I'm buying a lot more of Liberators shit. October, and then in November we get RSB 2.0. 4 boxes. Let's just say 4 boxes by singles. Yeah. Skip December. EX8 comes around. I don't know what EX8 is gonna be. Whatever it is, I'm probably still gonna buy boxes. Let's just say 160 for now. And then in February, I spend another $350. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sets compared to the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sets. So it's 1 set less. You're spending, so at minimum, you're spending $350 less. Now in buying your singles, yes, you might spend some extra money. But in the grand scheme of things, if you prioritize and you think about, well, what do I want to get out of this set? You spend less money. And then the point that I was trying to make earlier about buying singles is if you have these back-to-back set releases and there's only a month gap in between, not only is a person spending more money, but because they're spending more money, they're going to be inclined to, maybe I just skip buying boxes of this set and I just buy boxes of that set. And then you end up with the BT15 problem where nobody wanted to open BT15 because Apocalypse was hit. And you don't want to fucking pull Apocalypse because it's not a get pull. It's a fucking hit card. How much are Apocalypse alt arts? I think that's like $7-8
$10 or something like that max.
Like you don't want to pull that because
and a regular R is like $2-4 or something like that.
Yeah,
something cheap.
There are no promos to pull, so there's no box toppers. So what are you opening BT15 for, realistically?
Nothing anymore.
Koansamon, they're $12. What's the other secret? Melga. Base Melga is, I want to say like 18,
15
max,
15, something like that. Yeah.
And alt art is 25, maybe.
Yeah.
24. What are you opening BT15 for? Sure, and there's value in your alt arts. Some of them, only some of them. Gatomon, Anjuwamon, still the Digipolice stuff. But like Marvins are cheap, Megadramons are cheap, and you're kind of gambling with what your alt art pulls are.
And then if you buy in a case, you might get one of those SP cards. You might get one of those SP cards, and if you're lucky, and then if you're unfortunate and pull a Pokemon SP card, that's worth money, but not.
It's like $90.
It's not as much as you could have been if it was unlimited. So it's a bit rough for those type of people that like to buy for those collectors.
Of BT15 on TCG is currently lowest listed at $665. The math on that works out to
65-ish,
55
60?
a box.
Yeah.
That is less than you get it for from distro, from what I know.
Yeah.
Because PPG sells boxes for, I want to say it's 65, like 63 at the minimum. So 55 is a freaking loss because nobody wants to buy it. Like, sure, like if I was big slinging money, I might buy a case just to fuck around and find out, maybe pull an SP, but Bandai doesn't guarantee SPs. If you don't pull an SP and you don't,
you're negging.
Like you could pull an Anjouman, you could pull a Levia X, but like, where's the value for you? And there, like I said, there's no promos. It's not like EX5. EX5, there's value in that to buy.
A lot of value.
People just don't want to open BT15 because it's not worth it. And imagine if this was like multiple sets. People just aren't going to open, and then some things are going to be more expensive than others. You know, people complain about SR rookies. I don't find SR rookies to be a problem. You're like, oh, well, it's a 4 of. Yeah. So are SR megas that you play at 4 of. What's the difference?
Right.
It's like, well, you play them in more decks than you do rookies. Sure. How many decks are you playing that like you have an issue with SR rookies? I don't know. That to me personally is a moot point. I don't have a problem with SR rookies. It gives value to, you know, rookies being impactful, because a lot of times, like for example, Machinedramon, right? Machinedramon doesn't have an SR rookie. We've got Hergurumon. Hergurumon's great. It's a searcher. It's got reboot as an inheritable. You don't have to play it.
Well,
you've got Doromon.
You technically can play, you know, Commandramon as an SR rookie. Technically,
Commandramon is an SR rookie that doesn't search out Machinedramon pieces, but it does search out its own pieces if you play a little bit of the package.
Right.
You've got Doromon, that's just a rare, and you're not playing it for the main body effect. You're playing it to gain a memory when you tuck source. Imagine if Machinedramon got, you know, SR rookie. What do you think a Machinedramon SR rookie would do? Trash a card from hand, gain a memory draw, start a main phase?
Sure. The way actually, you know what? That's a valid point, because it seems like a lot of the SR rookies have a start a main effect. So that could be something for sure, like a Hoguru or whatever. Start a main, trash a cyborg, draw one, gain one memory.
Maybe it digivolves into a machine cyborg for free.
Yeah.
And then lets you build up into a Machinedramon stack easier. I don't know.
For sure.
But I love those kinds of rookies. They're great for their decks. Ryudamon's such a great rookie. It's got some kind of protection. It's not affected by the effects of your opponent's Digimon. That's a bigger freaking neg than you think it is, because if your opponent doesn't run option removal, or they don't have their like 1-2 option removal, what they doing against you? Yeah. They better not swing. If you put a Hisarumon on board, or Umon maybe, like, or Brigadramon even, pop like Goss 7. Like, I like SR rookies. I like the way that they went with them. I like the effects that they put on them. You can make the argument that they could take these effects and put them on rares, but power creep. We had this discussion in the past about power creep in the game and why power creep is good. And this is just part of power creep, in my opinion.
Yeah, for sure.
These rookies, I mean, I'm looking at the prices of just these SRs right now. Like the Ryudamon was like $7. The Gatomon, that was like also $7. Now, Biomon is all the way at $3 because it's not a relevant deck right now. Or not like as relevant, maybe with Phoenix X next set becomes a little bit more relevant. But your more meta relevant SRs, Gabumon, $8. Anjouman Ace, $8. And hey, listen, on the one hand, it's fine for stuff to have value. But on the second hand, I think those would have been a lot cheaper, like previous sets, if it was opened into Hell.
Yeah,
and I think
100%.
One of the biggest things to consider is that the Agumon SR rookie from BT14, which is Blast Ace,
probably $34 maybe.
Yeah, he is not expensive at all. I'm trying to find it. Hold on. Let me open up Blast Ace. Obviously, the alt arts from that set are still worth something, like Patamon, alternate art, Satsuki, Lugamon. But those are alts. It's fair.
Correct.
But looking at the price of the SRs, they're not completely out there. Patamon is $9 because everybody's on their yellow vaccine shit. But it's the most like expensive rookie SR. Commandramons are like $7. Pals are $6. Magna Ace is $6, and that's arguably more meta relevant than Palmon because it's played in more than just yellow vaccine. You got Lugas that are $5. Zudo Ace is $4. Agumon is $3.
That's what I figured, yeah.
Sure, it's not. Greymod's not the top deck right now. But it's a $3 Agumon, and it's $3 because this set was open to all hell. Like I said, vaccine is just Patamon's expensive. That's $9 because we've got EX6 coming out. That Patamon is played in multiple now meta-relevant decks.
Yeah.
And honestly, you could have picked that bitch up cheaper too because that bitch wasn't so expensive a few weeks ago.
Good card, right?
it's a good card. Good cards deserve to cost some kind of money, but I'm not upset about that. BT14 was definitely open a lot because it has training boost, and the prices reflect that. Like the only things that are out there are obvious, like either waifu cards, Satsuki, or Patamons, because again, vaccine, good deck. Even your Commandramon alt arts are down to $24. It's like if the sets don't get open, the stuff's going to be inherently more expensive, and that just pushes the singles market up. So sets need to get open. People like Dan and I, we need to buy products so that we can move the things that we don't want. Because there are people who buy cases, but they buy cases so that they can pull yellow vaccine stuff and sell off the rest. Like that's just card game economy. People have been doing that in all games, all across time, since the beginning of card game time, I like Special Booster. We may not like the sets being combined. It's gonna skewer the rates, sure. But I
have no problems with it.
The alternative was for just to be bombarded by sets and to make it even more difficult to spend money, essentially. Because some people just can't justify spending that much money. And I'll be honest, I would also be hard pressed. I'll be like, shit, like next month I gotta worry about BT19, or in a month and a half I gotta worry about BT19. Maybe I gotta cut down on the amount of 18 that I'm gonna buy.
For sure.
Like I said, we don't know what EX8 is gonna be, but maybe now I say, all right, well, cool, whatever EX8 is, I don't have to buy much. Like I said, I wasn't gonna buy much Animal Coliseum. I bought singles for Animal Coliseum for Nats, and I wasn't gonna buy any boxes, but they came with the fucking promos and expensive ass proto forms, and I was like, well, I should buy boxes because it's actually worth it to buy boxes.
Yeah.
I think the other big thing that people miss out on is, what about your LGS? We may hate it as players, but imagine what it's like to be an LGS.
Yeah,
they get even more fucked than we do. Like, at this point, I'd like to say that they have or are placing their pre-orders for BT17.
Yes.
I think they're placing pre-orders for BT17. They just obviously, now that they know, they're going to be placing pre-orders for Special Booster 2.0 and 2.5. But imagine you're an LGS.
You have to
Magic.
Get all those within that crunch time frame. Oh my God.
That's what I'm saying. You support Magic, you support Pokemon, and you support Yu-Gi-Oh! Let's just say you support the big three, and that's the three games you sell, and like you're the edge.
And
Magic,
Digimon and One Piece.
Pokemon, but you do support Digimon, One Piece as well, and just a couple other games, but they don't matter as much as your big three, and then your two Bandai games. You're like, well, there's a set that's coming out in November, and then January, and then February, and then March.
Yeah. Crazy.
How am I placing pre-orders for all of I can't, realistically, some stores can't place pre-orders for all of those. Like, I know for our shop, there's a lot that went on behind the scenes, and they have to watch how much they order. It's because of what is the word? Resurgence booster. There we go. Sorry. Words were escaping me. They have to watch what they order because of Resurgence booster, because obviously they got left with a lot of Resurgence booster on the shelf. Imagine that happened, but for like a main set. Like Resurgence booster is one thing because it's just Resurgence booster. Imagine you got left with a lot of stock for a BT18 or a BT19 because you ordered, and then you ordered BT19, and then your player said, either we're not buying this because we just don't have the money, we're waiting for this, or you just don't have the money to do it. I mean, I'm sure the stores have I don't know the logistics of running stores, and I'm sure they have their funds, but that's a lot of logistics for a store to go through. Like us as players, we're like, yeah, we can just choose not to buy anything. As a store,
yeah, that would have been rough.
I think RSB is perfect for them. They buy RSB in November, they buy RSB in February, and then they buy their EX sets. And their EX sets are inherently, whether you buy less because, well, it's an EX set, all right, cool. You don't have to worry about the EX set as much as BT18 in November, BT19 a month and a half later, BT20, and then EX8, and then this, and then that. It's like, I don't know. The last thing I want to say about that is one problem obviously everybody has. We already said it. The pull rates, right? My bigger thing was if you know you're going to do RSB 2.0, 2.5, are they going to be themed? And they confirmed that. If you guys haven't watched the video, they put out a video simultaneous release transition update. But Chi, our English card game producer, she said BT 18 and 19, or sorry, let me rephrase it. RSB 2.0 and 2.5 will be themed, and they will come with English exclusives. Forget about English exclusives. We don't care about that. Themed is the important part. Dan, what do you have to say on themed RSBs? Knowing that BT18 is going to be hybrids because Frontier, and then part of what's it called? Liberators. With Owen and Zenith.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting for sure because I feel I was about to say RS was how you say RSVP?
RSB, release special booster.
Release special booster. Let's just call 1.0, 1.5.
You just call it 2.0 and 2.5.
No, I know. I'm making a point about the first ones. 1.0, 1.5, I feel like was not, I guess because, new set, new everything. No, I mean, not new set, new game, right? So it felt randomized a bit with a little theme to it. Not 100% sure like if there was a theme to it or not. So it's gonna be interesting to see because now we are more thematic booster sets now, right? Right. So it's gonna be interesting to see. So we know confirmed already BT18 is Frontier / Liberators. 19 could be half Liberators, half something else. And then they give us like maybe the Liberators part in the combination of BT18 and 19 combined. And then they use that second half for the 19 to 20 combo. And that could be whatever theme as well. So it should be interesting. Can't wait to see how they're going to do. I'm wondering if they're going to be smaller sets as well, possibly, so they can combine it and it doesn't feel as bad. So usually our sets are anywhere between, I want to say it's 110 to 120. 110 to 120 around that range because it's different. It differs for each set. So I wonder if they're going to go maybe like 100 or maybe 90 cards for like 19 to 20 or something. So they can combine, or maybe for 19, so that it's easier to combine with each other. So that's going to be a question to see if they're going to do that or not. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. My thing for these sets are, I feel like people are like missing this part maybe, is that once again, which I'm excited for, is we're going to have our own meta. Just like how we are with the banlist version of BT15 for us, which is a brand new meta that we're seeing, and we're seeing what's considered top decks. We're seeing that Leviathan X could be arguably best deck in the format, mixed with Numon, mixed with Flame Hybrid. I was thinking Flame for some reason. Red Hybrid. Yeah. Red Hybrid mixed with, whatever else. And it feels very diverse, this format possibly too. And so it's interesting to see how that format is going to turn into, right? Because now instead of JP is, all right, we're going to have BT18 format. We'll have the BT90 format mixed with the EX set. Then we'll have BT20 format. For us, it's going to be a mix of BT18, half of BT19. So that already can change everything about the meta. Because it could be, a deck that's irrelevant BT18 becomes relevant BT19. And we get that at the same time. We just don't, we won't know, and it's going to be different, and it's going to be exciting and fresh for us as the English players on this side of the world.
Yeah, that's a big thing. I just want to note to your thing on like smaller sets. It's actually, since the release of BT14, they've only had 102 cards max in a set. BT13 had 112. Right. BT13 was 112. BT14 Plus is just 102. I think most, if not all of the sets prior were 112 cards. So
because I feel like there was like some random
cards off.
I feel like there was some sets that had like 115 or something like that. I could be wrong. Maybe older sets had
I definitely
that
agree
number.
with you. It feels like there was a set that had like up to 116.
Yeah.
But as far as that, I'm looking in the BT9 forward, those were like 112. But from BT14, 15, 16, and 17, it's all 102.
Oh wow. Okay. Interesting.
So I mean,
I didn't realize they shrunk it a little bit.
Yeah, they did shrink it a little bit, and it's possible that they potentially shrink it just a little bit more. I mean, EX sets
just for that set, yeah,
small. EX sets come with I want to say somewhere between like 72 to 76 cards. I don't think I've seen anything more than that. Let's see, we've had 74 for EX4. I don't think they could go down to like 90, right? And they could cut down like a super rare or two, just because they know that, you know, in Japan. But that's the problem. It's like, do you cut that down? Because in Japan, it's still being released as a main set. But we already know that in Japan, like all of their boxes are basically half size. They cost half the price. They also have half the pulls. When they come over here, it's quite literally double everything. So when they do RSB, do they modify? Do they cut down the size like you said? Do they account for that? Do they modify the pull rates? Hopefully this is things that Bandai takes into account. You know, I know Bandai doesn't necessarily listen to some things, but with a new English version producer and with her making the decision to unify the games, it's entirely possible that they do listen and that they do adjust the pull rates. We wouldn't know. It's okay to be pessimistic. I think that's the way that kind of got to approach some things when it comes to Bandai. But with that in mind, also know that like it's a new card game producer for the English version. And there's a lot of stumbling blocks to be had along the way. Nobody's perfect. No process is perfect. But it's possible that they do something. And so I think the better thing than being pessimistic is to just be optimistic.
Yeah.
You think, all right, cool. We're getting this. It's the best thing for both LGSs and us, the players. Even if you don't think it's the best thing for you as a player, I guarantee you, your LGS thinks it's the best thing.
Yeah.
I think we should probably get an LGS owner on and be like, hey, you know, tell us the inner workings of what it means to own an LGS.
Or a head judge of a big, prominent, you know, LGS.
Don't be spoiling nothing. They don't need to.
Wink, wink.
If you're a YouTube member. Wink, wink. That's definitely something we could talk about at that point, because that's something that certain person might know about. I think this is the best outcome. Whether pull rates are increased or not, if they're not, well, I'll eat shit one day so that I can eat like a king the next day. Like,
look, at the end of the day, to me, this like I hate like card players, especially for Bandai, for at least for Digimon players. They just come off always pessimistic about everything. Just wait for the information. Wait until we fully know what's going to happen before you cry about it. Before you go on Facebook and like, you know, this is the worst thing ever to Digimon. Digimon is dying, blah, blah, blah. Like, bro, just stop. Just relax. Let it happen. They said we're going to get English exclusive. Don't know what that means. That could be AAs. That could be cards. That could be anything.
Yeah.
Just wait until we get the information before you're down on it. Just wait. Patience.
Have faith. That's a song by A Day to Remember. Have faith in me.
This guy.
No, just have some faith. You know, like I said, I know there's a lot to be pessimistic about, but I think this is something to be optimistic about.
Agreed.
Now, we talked about release schedule, but I think the bigger news, the bigger thing, the thing that I'm most excited for is Digimon Liberators.
Hey, we spoke about it before in that set specifically.
Dan, what? I don't even know where to start with Liberators.
Just exciting. I mean, knowing that we're getting a web comic about the Digimon TCG itself is super cool to see, and we're finally getting official word. April is going to be the first chapter. We got a prologue. We'll go in depth about it in a bit, and we actually got the full lines of the two main set of Digimons for Shoto, for the Terramon thing he's called, and then Shumon. We got the full line of that, which is really cool. Outside the babies for some reason.
So I think we should say, let's go over the synopsis. So for our listeners who may not know what Liberators is, I'm about to go over the synopsis for you. The Digimon card game has evolved. After a year-long closed beta test, Digimon Liberator, a futuristic and fully immersive game that allows players to enjoy card battles in the metaverse space of Lacuna, has finally been officially launched. Shoto Kazuma, a boy who has never been able to win a card battle because of his habit of giving up on things easily, enters the world of Liberator through the invitation of his childhood friend, Arisa Kinosaki. Encounters with wild Digimon, battles with NPCs who have gone rogue. These various happenings set the wheels of fate in motion. This is a story about Digimon and the world.
Damn, this man Shoto is just just Yuma. It's just Yuma from Zexal. I hate it here. That part annoys me. Because if you ever watched, I don't know if you watched Yu-Gi-Oh! Zexal. That's basically what he was. I think that was Yuma. That's the one with Yuma, yeah. He was like the worst duelist Yu-Gi-Oh! Player in the world. He gets the Astral dude, and that's how he ended up like winning and stuff. And he was just like dog shit. I think he's like the worst protagonist for Yu-Gi-Oh! In my opinion. Terrible. God, that's what it reminded me of immediately when you said Shoto, a trash player that doesn't know how, can't win a game to save his life. No wonder why he has a Muchomon in the beginning, right?
Ooh, damn. He said that's why he's got a Muchomon.
Holy shit. But it's exciting.
Liberators is sorry, let me rephrase. Liberator is a web comic about the Digimon card game. It is literally about the Digimon card game.
Yes.
Now, Liberator, it seems like Liberator in Universe is the name of like whatever metaverse or game that they're playing in Universe. So it's quite literally Digimon Liberator is a story about Digimon Liberator, where they play the Digimon card game in that metaverse.
What's cool is that they're keeping
it does sound confusing,
it's cool that they're keeping that game-wise cyber sleuth type of style, where there's like they got the metaverse where they go into to I guess play as well. It's gonna be interesting to see how that unfolds and like how that environment like creates the whatever happens in it.
Yeah, for sure. So Liberator, like Dan said, comes out on April 26th. I believe April 25th. That is a Friday. The day before that is when the starter decks drop in Japan, I think, or no, the day after that is when starter decks drop in Japan. So you read first chapter, then you can pick up the starter decks. Now, coinciding with Digimon Liberator, we are also getting a novel that also takes place in the world of Digimon Liberator with a completely separate main character, and basically is the story. It's not the same story. It's just a different perspective on the story. Different main character. Her name is Yuki, and her partner Digimon is an Impmon. And this Impmon, hinted by the card game dev team, may not digivolve into BL's Mon. I'm gonna tell y'all, I guarantee this Impmon is BL Star support. 99.9% sure this Impmon is BL Star support, because the description, let me pull up the what's it called? The description for EX7. EX7 is the Digimon Liberator set. It includes many Digimon and Tamers that appear for the first time in the series. Obviously, it includes new support cards for starter decks 18 and 19. One of the biggest things is that number one, Nature, they say many nature-related Digimon. What are they called? Nature spirits, Dan?
Yes.
I think.
Yes.
Such as Saberleomon, Eldradimon, and Talakmon?
Yes, that's a new fusion. It's a new fusion of...
Oh, that's that one from New Century, right? That reveal, was it?
Are you thinking of the Cherubi Melga one? No, that's not it.
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
It's like a giant like tiki thing that's a fusion of, I want to say Saberleomon and something else. Well, keep reading. I'll look it up for you.
All right. Those Digimon are getting support, and they say you can build a new deck that possess the nature spirits characteristic. Another thing is that it's going to include popular Digimon such as the Three Musketeers. That is right, the Three Musketeers. Bielstar, Magna-Kidmon, and Gundramon. And Bielstar will be an ace Digimon. So, in my opinion, Yuki's Impmon is straight Bielstar support. And Yuki might have something to do with Three Musketeers. It would be fitting if it's coming in EX7, you know? Obviously, and another thing that we should mention about the set as well, they say the conventional common card slots will be included as limited common or limited uncommon, which has different specification from the common and uncommon cards of the same set, increasing the enjoyment of opening packs. So it looks like, basically, what that might mean is that you are getting foil commons and uncommons, but they won't be taking up rare slots. Pray to God, hopefully. And so hopefully it won't be BT11 all over again.
I got it. So Talakamon is the DNA of Eldoradimon and Saberleomon.
Okay.
Or Metal Edomon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So it's just an exciting set. So let me say this. One of the reasons I love the Digimon card game is because you can never run out of material for this card game. It's why I never understood why One Piece got its own card game, because One Piece is going to end at some point. Yes, One Piece fans, you know it, I know it, and Oda has said it. One Piece is going to end at some point, and what are you going to do? I mean, they're already doing it. They reprint Luffy almost every set. You know, we're getting a new Smoker starter deck, but we already had a Smoker starter deck. Like, it's like you can only reuse the same characters so much. When does it dry up? When does it become stale? At least with Dragon Ball, like, they kept reusing characters, but like Goku just...
Well, he gets a new form every year, right? So
Goku
like you're
gets
able to
new form every year. So it's like, all right,
so
cool.
Here's
SS1 Goku, SS2 Goku, SS3, SS3 SSG, SS3 SSG, SSB Goku.
Oh my God.
No, the best one was SSG SS Goku. I was like, what the fuck does that even? Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan?
Yep, Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan.
But I digress. At least with Dragon Ball, like, everything felt fresh. And to me personally, One Piece doesn't necessarily feel fresh in the same way. And then they came out with Union Arena, and I was like, well, you could have just released One Piece cards as like, you could have just had like 10,000 One Piece sets for Union Arena. That's what Weiss Schwartz does. Sure, Bushiroad doesn't have like the license for Sword Art, but there is like, I want to say, at least 6 sets, if not like 8 to 9 sets for Sword Art in Weiss Schwartz. There's Sword Art Season 1, Sword Art Season 2, Sword Art Season 3, Sword Art Alicization Part 1, Sword Art Alicization Part 2, Sword Art the 25th or 10th anniversary, or some dumb shit. Like, you could have done that with One Piece. I don't understand. But, you know, we're not here to shit on One Piece, because really, I'm not shitting on it. I'm just saying I don't understand it. Digimon, I love that you literally cannot run out of content. You could just be like, all right, cool. Liberators. Perfect example.
Yeah, 100%. New characters. Make a bunch
of new Digimon, a bunch of new Digimon. And there we go.
You go.
Pokemon is the same way, but Pokemon's a little bit harder, because Pokemon, you can introduce a whole new generation, but you have to introduce a generation. You got to introduce their evolution lines. You got to introduce new moves. You got to introduce this. You got to introduce that. And Digimon, you can kind of just keep doing the same thing. I mean, the level 5 for the Terramon line kind of just looks like in a way, it looks like a combination of reskinned Slayer Dramon plus Garudamon.
Yes, kind of, yeah, for sure.
But it is unique in its own way.
But it works.
And it works.
Because there's Digimon.
And that's just Digimon. Like, they evolve, but like their evolutions like cross. So it's possible they cross with Slayer Digimon at some point. Like, I don't know. I like Digimon a lot because it's just so easy for this game to keep getting new things without needing to go out on a limb. Like, Pokemon needs to put out a whole new game with a whole new anime with a whole new set of characters and a whole new this and a whole new that for them to justify new Pokemon outside of like promos, right? Like, you have your legendaries and you can introduce like 1 or 2 new Pokemon, but at their point, it's outside of their scope to introduce a new subset of Pokemon without introducing a whole new series, essentially.
Yeah, for sure. Digimon's different. If they feel like dropping a game tomorrow and it has all brand new Digimon, they do. They can if they want to.
It just gets added to the reference book.
If they feel like dropping a new Digimon tomorrow just because they feel like it, they can, they will. We've seen in the TCG, they will make Digimon for the TCG, a la Melgreymon X. Melgreymon X did not virus Melgreymon X.
Right.
Didn't exist prior. And then boom, they were like, we need an ultimate for the line because the X line didn't have it yet. We're gonna make it. So they can just easily just do that. And then Galactic Mon was around forever in Digimon World 3. It was never officially canonized as a real Digimon until recently when they did the card game. And they dropped it into, the reference. When you make it to the reference, you're official. You know what I'm saying? That's how you know. So like, Seekers, they made a whole new line, the Fenrir line. They made what else?
Commandramon got a Commandramon already existed, line. But he got a whole new line.
Was a High Commander, then you had the Cargo Brigadra. That was that. And then the Fenrir line, that's 5 Digimon there. Plus that, it's like a total of 10 immediately right there. Just thinking about like what they can do, which is really cool. Postmo was a recent new one too. That wasn't anything like they were like, all right, we gotta make a new Digimon to support this new thing we're gonna do, which is with the watches, Postmon. And we're going to give a million lines for it. And there you go. We're going to have new Digimon because they just do it all the time. So it's pretty cool that they can able to do that when they feel like it at the whim. It's like, hey, what do we need new to add, And then we have this random Chinese game that just drops new Digimon like every 6 months.
We don't have that.
I'm so mad too. It's called Digimon Century for anybody who doesn't know. New Century. Yeah, New Century. It's a MMO type of RPG.
It's not an MMO.
Not
it's
MMO.
A
Gacha. My fault.
It's
Gacha
a phone
RPG
gacha game.
Yeah. I think I said MMO because I feel like I read somewhere that it was like MMO style or something like that.
And probably,
I feel like,
you probably like cooperate with like other players in some sort of way, but it's a gacha game.
Gacha game.
It's developed by Tencent.
Yeah, and they've been dropping random new Digimon out of nowhere, like the Tulakamon, where it was called. That was from New Century.
Okay.
That new
it's that
samurai
combination of Cherubi and
that one, the Cherubi and Metal Garurumon. That's a new fusion that just dropped. That was from there. I forget the name of it at the moment. The one with the
Takutomon, Takutomon,
Takatomon, I think it is. The one with the what's it called? The samurai dude with the building in his hand or whatever it looks like.
Yeah,
that's brand new. And I think he's also a fusion too. I'm not 100% sure. And they just been this Chinese game. They've just been dropping new gems, and they're fire AF.
It DNA's really from cool. Beowulf and Bryludramon.
There you go. I knew it was something weird. Yeah. All their fusions are weird. All their fusions are weird as hell. I don't know. Like, I would love to play the game just to see why this is happening and these fusions are popping up. But yeah, and they're becoming official Digimon. So it's like just anything they're like they get like inspiration from. They're like, boom, done, new shit, which is cool.
Yeah, like I said, that's my favorite part about this card game. Yu-Gi-Oh was the same way. I mean, Yu-Gi-Oh, you can just introduce 100%. Whatever the fuck you want because again, you are the. I mean, like I said, Pokemon is weird because Pokemon, the way Pokemon goes about it, you got to create a whole new universe. But Yu-Gi-Oh could just literally just be like, all right, well, cool. Here's a new archetype, whatever, blah blah blah, and just go about its day. Don't even need a new anime. We'll throw it in at some point. Digimon, same shit, but even more flexible. Because like Dan said, we need a Metal Gray X. Done, just like that. Don't need to go through any channels. Don't need any prior approval. None of that. You just fucking create it, and boom, it's there.
They made Digimon Real Rise, and that's where Harrismon came from, and a couple other Digimon. Heavy Leomon came from that game as well, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's just Liberators. Liberators gives them a series that they could literally just be like, well, if we wanted a reason to give X deck support, now we have a reason. Like, we've already gotten random ass support in the past, right? Like we've gotten the random ass card and we're like, oh, cool, we're getting that in this set. But now it's like, oh, nice, it was in Liberators. We might get support for it. You know, you happen to see the one-off, I don't know, name a random Digimon who gets no support.
Yanmamon.
Yeah, what the fuck is a Yanmamon?
He's a dragonfly Digimon. He's an
that sounded like a Pokemon to me.
He's not even in the game yet, which is crazy.
That's what you know what I thought of when you said Yanmamon? I thought of the Pokemon. It's not called Yanmamon.
I know what you're thinking of, I think, yeah.
It's that, whatever you're thinking of is probably what I'm thinking of. I'm looking at it. There you go. Yanmamon could just fucking appear in Liberators because they're like looking through it and they're like, all right, well, we want to use this Digimon. Let's give this one some support. It appears in Liberators. Next thing you know, we got a common for it. It doesn't even have to be amazing. We got a common for it, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
I just love what this series is about to do for the card game.
Yeah, there's a lot of Digimon. There's still a lot of Digimon that's still not in the card game, which is kind of crazy to think about.
I know. I never thought there were that many Digimon, but Lord, there is a lot.
And they haven't even touched. They kind of have, sort of, but not really touched like the colored versions. If they really want to go crazy, like Digimon World 3 had like variants of everything that's different colors. If they really want to go crazy, they can. You mean
like Psychmon?
Psychmon was one of those that became, a Digimon named. But there's also like a we have it, the yellow Growlmon, but he just counts as Growlmon.
Oh, yeah.
No, we had the yellow War Growlmon that we got, but I don't think we got the Growlmon. I don't think. Something like that. But there's a whole line of yellow,
actually,
you know what I'm saying?
I think there is a yellow Growlmon.
Okay, I don't remember if we did in the card game. Yeah, that was the OG PT5, 4, whatever it was.
Yeah, there's a yellow Growlmon.
Yeah, okay. But like, there's also technically like a green one, I think it was, or something. It was some random ass color. Like, it's weird. There's a red Veedramon, right? That's just not in the card game.
Red, blue, and gold, right?
Yes, correct. And then like, it's just a lot of different variants that are in the game. They really wanted to. They sure as hell can. You know what I'm saying?
And now it's just even more reason because we can just throw it in Liberator and just say, all right, cool. It's pushing this plot.
In Digimon World 3, for example, there's the blue Numemon that's, bust as all hell for no reason. And there's like different color Numemons that they could use. There's different versions of Frigimon. There's also, just a random Digimon that you don't think there's variants of, but they are. Mm-hmm. So if they really wanted to, keep going, it sure as hell can.
Right. Now, with that in mind, we're talking about new Digimon. Let's talk about the new evolution lines.
Ooh, they're pretty cool.
So we got
the ones we've seen so far.
For what we've seen so far, we've got the whole evolution line for Teromon. So Teromon eventually ends up being Shoto's partner Digimon, but obviously we see him in the prologue with a Muchomon.
Yeah.
This Teromon, however, it's super funny. So its in training 1 form is quite literally an egg yolk.
Yeah.
And its in training 2 form is that Fluffymon.
Mm-hmm.
And then then you have Teromon, the rookie. Then it digivolves into Galemon, which is
the champion.
For all intents and purposes, it's a Birdramon. And then your Grand Galemon, which is your Garudamon. And then your Zephagamon, which is nothing. Zephagamon looks entirely new. Now, arguably, in my opinion, Grand Galemon looks cooler than Zephagamon. But
I'm not gonna lie, the very first time I saw it, I thought the Grand Gale was the Mega and that was the Ultimate. And then I realized that it was the opposite. I was like, oh, okay, never mind.
Yep. Now, Zephagamon is a Magic Knight, and it's cool because it's like, ooh, Magic Knight. Like, just these little things, like Magic Knight. Are we going to see things that play off of Magic Knights? Because we've seen it in the past.
Yes,
like,
for sure.
Obviously,
and got confirmed.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, got confirmed. Medieval Galemon is the leader of that group, and it's Medieval Galemon. It's Deuteromon, Mega, and then who was the other one again? It was
I don't remember.
It was 3 they showed.
Named?
Man, now I gotta look into it again because I remember seeing it and then I was like, oh, that's really cool.
Yeah, whatever it is. Medieval Galemon is like the leader of this group in the Digimon Liberator universe, which immediately speaks to Medieval Galemon support. Are we not? Are we finally going to get
Vortex Warriors? They're called.
Yes, the Vortex Warriors, consisting of just him, Zephagamon, and Grand Galemon. But that is a thing in Digimon Liberator universe. So at some point, I can guarantee we're going to get a Medieval Galemon, and it might not be trash. It might actually be half decent. Like,
yeah, for sure.
That's exciting. So like you guys can look this stuff up on either the Digimon reference book, because all of these Digimon are in the reference book.
It's Hexablow, I think, the other one. That's all.
Hexablow is in that? I was gonna say I don't think Hexablow is in that.
Okay, I lied. I'm sorry.
It doesn't make thematic sense for him to be in it anyways.
Some reason I thought I saw a Hexablow for it.
Nah.
I don't know. Anyways, moving forward. But yeah, there's a whole group that's going to probably be more of them eventually.
Yeah. And then for Shumon, we don't know what Shumon's in training 1 or 2 form is.
No, not yet.
But it plays along with the entire line. We get Shumon that digivolves into Shumon, which unfortunately does not digivolve into Shumon.
That was the hope and dream.
But it digivolves into something called Chaperomon.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, Chaperomon, kind of badass. It's a puppet type, little Red Riding Hood with a Molotov cocktail in her hand and a chompy chomp basket. And
then she also has like wolf feet as well, something like that.
Wolf feet, yeah.
Yeah.
It's such a cool looking ultimate. And then she digivolves into Cinderellamon. It's Cinderellamon. She digivolves into Cinderellamon, which they even said it. It's based on the fairy tale of Cinderella.
Yeah.
But she has an army of puppets at her feet. So it's
little
like
rats, little mice.
Little mice puppets.
Yeah.
It feeds into the whole, they said, I can't remember what they said the playstyle of the Shumon line was going to be. But it's all going to play together and piece together. We know that the Teromon line is going to be like attack and unsuspend, I believe they said. Like basically just constant barrage of attacks. I'm excited to see the starter decks. I'm excited to see these Digimon.
Yeah.
Syndromon, just the idea that I just love that they can expand and, take something and just be like, all right, yeah, cool. Cinderella, obviously based on Cinderella, but here's a Digimon based on the lore of Cinderella, Like, these Digimon are just so freaking cool looking. I said it once, I'll say it again. I am so excited for Liberator.
So excited. Super hyped for it. And speaking of which, let's continue on with this Chapter 0 prologue that we found.
The prologue. So we're going to spoil the prologue here. So if you don't want to hear and you want to read it, it's not much. It's probably like a quick, like 3-minute read.
Probably, if that.
If you don't want to hear about it, you can probably skip ahead. I don't know how many minutes. I'm not going to lie to you. But you can skip ahead at some point. The prologue basically starts out with Shoto. He is watching the Digimon card game World Championships, where Zenith is this up-and-coming rookie taking on the current reigning champion, Owen Dreadnought, in the World Championship Finals. And Owen is piloting Wargrey Tribal against Zenith, playing Galacticmon.
Woo! What an interesting matchup.
Yo, Zenith wiped the fucking floor with Owen, like straight up. Like,
yes.
I suppose you, based on what they showed in the prologue, yo, Zenith was huffing and puffing. That Wargrey was beat the hell down. Galacticmon had this big menacing presence. Like, Galacticmon apparently kicked Wargrey's ass, and Zenith said, "My goal is to become the best Digimon Liberator player." And that's kind of where we left off. That's the prologue. That's chapter 0. First of all, Galacticmon support. I think that's like everybody's like first biggest takeaway. They're like, oh my goodness,
how does Galacticmon be Wargreymon? That's a lot of people's thing.
Now, just remember, it's just a webcomic. So, I mean, I never played Yu-Gi-Oh! Competitively, so I can't speak to this. Dan, was Stardust Dragon ever relevant, really?
Stardust Dragon was one of the best synchros at his time.
Okay, cool. So Stardust Dragon was great. What about Yusei's like junk synchron type deck?
Yeah, that was a deck that was based on trying to climb to Quasar Dragon usually when Quasar dropped. So it was a very, very long combo-esque deck that if you go turn 1, your whole goal was to go to Quasar Dragon and watch your opponent be like, can you deal with this giant dragon? No, I wouldn't. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's obviously, it was at that time there was more interaction, but like that was the goal of trying to like climb up as much as possible to get to there. It was relevant. Was there in Yu-Gi-Oh! Was there ever a protagonist deck that was just complete shit or not? Oh, Yu-Gi-Oh!
Or
so like if you want to talk about that, Yuki's deck is probably the most garbage deck ever. If you really think about it, especially like even you put it like during that time frame of Yu-Gi-Oh! And IRL, Yuki's deck is dog shit, right? Because he has like the most trash stuff, like the Magna Warriors, like that shit like never worked in IRL, right? He was able to pop that off like Gazelle, the mythical beast with Berthamont Fusion. That shit is dog shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? Even back then, it was terrible, but it worked for him, obviously, and he made everything great. Joey's deck was trash.
Anime.
Joey's deck was the like complete opposite trash. Kaiba's was a little bit more, but like a little bit better, but at the same time, not, because trying to summon Blue Eyes Dragon, like, it's terrible, and like once that Blue Eyes dies, GG. So a lot of them old school, like season 1 was a bit rough. You get to like GX, the Heroes deck was relevant. Heroes is very relevant.
Steamroids?
In any form, absolutely not. Roids, never was. I love Roids. I was a huge Roids fan just because I love like the stuff, but like that was a deck that was never relevant. And when they got the latest support in the recent years, it was like, all right, it could do a little things, but still was never relevant. Cyber Dragons was probably the best one out of everything. Zane's deck, Cyber Dragon was so good that it had hits on it. What else? Then you go to what else?
Well, that's kind
Crystal
of like,
Beasts were kind of relevant.
Beast,
so on.
Destiny Heroes.
Destiny Heroes. That counts as heroes. So like that's all hero support technically. So like they all work together. OGs, Destiny Heroes, dog shit. If you look at them, they're like mostly trash. Outside like 2 cards, they're like But like, you know, and then you go to 5Ds. I'm rambling about Yu-Gi-Oh! But like 5Ds, that was a lot of good stuff. Like Yusei's decks, the Stardust Dragon, great card. Black Wings, it was a tier 1 deck for sure, and so on. But yeah, so I don't know what's gonna happen with Digimon. You know what I'm saying? Like it could be relevant or not. I don't know.
It's entirely possible that like, well, obviously the main character here is Shoto, but in the card game, it's entirely possible his deck don't do dick shit. It's entirely possible
it's very
that
possible.
deck is dog water, and it's possible that
main protagonist energy and, you know, pops off, gets the perfect hands and all that good stuff, and
exactly.
GG.
It's possible that like in the card game, his deck is shit, and the Shumon deck is the shit. You know, that's entirely possible because that's just card games, and it's been the thing in Yu-Gi-Oh. You know, there's pro tag decks that are shit. There's pro tag decks that are good. There are rival decks that are shit. There are rival decks that are good. The 100%. Most important thing is, you know, we say it a lot. Play what you like. If you like Shoto and you want to play some pro tag energy deck, fucking play the deck, right? Like
100%
that's the most hype thing about it. It's like, this is Shoto's deck. I am playing this, right? Like that's what I love about Seekers. That's why my decks are very like purist, and I hate playing cards that they may be good for the deck, but I'm like, but it's not like his deck, you know, or it doesn't matter as much for Seekers because obviously that's a story about Digimon, not the card game. Now, when it comes to the card game, because I had this problem when I was playing Yu-Gi-Oh, I was like, I only want cards that he plays. I want that pro tag energy, right? I want
done that.
every card in his deck is in my deck. Am I gonna deviate from his plan? No, because he's the protagonist.
I played Yugi's deck so many times and I realized how trash it was, you know?
Exactly.
Had me on one up of everything. Is like, how did you win this? How did you see what you saw? Like, this makes no sense. You have a 40-50 card deck that all one-ups and you somehow always see what you need. I can't do this.
Yeah, exactly. And that's like a big thing too. Like, I loved playing Yu-Gi-Oh because I loved playing thematic decks that I saw from the show.
Yeah.
And we may not have an anime, but we have something. And that's more than
to start
any other card game can say. We have a webcomic.
Yes.
And now we can literally be like, all right, well, cool. Something that Dan and I are planning. And Owen versus Zenith rematch, playing Wargrey Tribal versus Galactic Bond, and just playing it because it's just fun. It's like, oh wow, like they duked it out. Hey, let's play it. And obviously, yeah, we're not gonna play all this busted jank ass shit. Like, I'm not gonna play Dexmon and Galacticmon because Zenith most likely wasn't. Will I play Tai? I don't know. I don't even know if they like. His problem. I don't know what the tamer for that deck even is.
So I like, since we're mentioning tamers, right? I wonder how Liberators is gonna do when it comes to tamers. Like, are they gonna like play a tamer and then like an OG tamer like Tai pops up and it's just like chilling there, or like do they play themselves, or is it gonna be like Yu-Gi-Oh, like where they have random ass effects that aren't on the card but somehow are in the game, in the show type shit, you know what I'm saying? Like, especially like Duelist Kingdom, right? Duelist Kingdom rules, or it's like a random shit that happens. It's gonna be like that, and then like, you know, Owen is like, oh, because we're here, my shit gets 2k buff and I get blocker, and now as a card we get that or something. Is that how it's gonna be? Like, I wonder how they're gonna interact when it comes to that part
and the lore of it, right?
Yeah.
Another big thing is that, well, comboing off what you said, if any of you like Gundam, one of my favorite Gundam series is Gundam Build Fighters, because Build Fighters literally is a show about Gunpla. And if you like Gunpla, that's the show for you. And they kind of like play off of like, you know, here was this epic battle in UC 97 between this mobile unit and that mobile unit, and they like play that out. And I mean, generally, like, there's just like battles and they kit bash and all of those Gunpla terms, but like they play off of the lore of the Gundam universe. So I too am interested to see what they do. Or are we going to get Tai Kamiya as a card in the card game? I mean, we already know from Tamers, when remember when they were talking about their card game and they were talking about like the original DigiDestined or something? Do you remember that part?
Vaguely.
There was a part where they mentioned, I feel like it was Tai. They mentioned something about like Tai on a card, or something that had happened in like 01 in the card, but like as a card in the card game, or some event in the card game. So I'm wondering if they'll use that in the Liberator universe and just be like, yeah, that's an alternate universe, or that's a story that was told, or what they'll do, because that is a whole other aspect to it. How do tamers play in the game? And so just being able to play these decks, right? It's just like, oh my goodness, like, this is so freaking cool. Like,
yeah, it's gonna be fun.
I'm just so excited for everything that this series brings to the card game. This really speaks volumes about, in my opinion, how Bandai feels about it. We may say that, you know, Digimon is the forgotten child because One Piece and then there's Battle Spirits, but this shows they care, at least a little bit. There's value.
Hey, One Piece ain't getting a webcomic.
I mean, Oda would probably, you know, say fuck you. We already got a manga. We don't need a webcomic. But one thing I say to people is One Piece is One Piece. One Piece will always be One Piece, and you cannot compete against One Piece. One Piece is one of the biggest media franchises in the world. One Piece is so big. One Piece in Japan is what Superman is to America, to the United States of America. So, because when Gear 5 happened on the anime in Japan, bro, Japan went insane. There was media advertisements. They had the things in the subways. They got statues of all of the Straw Hat Pirates scattered throughout Japan.
Yeah.
One Piece is to Japan as Superman is to America. And you gotta live with that. You know, there's always going to be fans. There's going to be mega fans. There's going to be so much media surrounding it. We can't compete with that. What's important is that we give our time and our devotion to what we love. And that's the Digimon card game. And Bandai season, they're like, all right, cool. Take this webcomic. we may want more. We always ask for more. Always ask for more. Never say, all right, cool, we got this. We can stop asking. But we know that they're like, all right, cool. These guys like it enough that we feel comfortable devoting time and resources into giving them a webcomic and a novel and stuff around said webcomic and novel and global unification and plans for 2025 and onward. Like, Digimon's not dying. Don't you listen to the haters. This card game is strong. Some of the last things we can talk about just real quick is, like we were saying, there's a lot of new support coming. One of the biggest things, or I wouldn't say one of the biggest things. One thing a lot of people can look forward to is you are getting a new Hexablow. You're getting a new Hexablow. You're getting a new Belucomon.
Hexablow's still going to be tier 500.
Hey, that was a 13K mega in the PV. 13K 5 to Digivolve. The Hexablow might do some hefty things.
Maybe Hexablow will be relevant again.
Maybe it'll be relevant again, and you just gotta, you know, tune in to find out. I'm telling you guys right now, I am sorry. Every podcast that we do once Liberators drops, we are going to talk about Liberators.
Most likely, yes.
Which means if you want to not be spoiled, you're going to have to read Liberators. Because I love manga. You know, I liked Jujutsu Kaisen. I do still like My Hero. I don't keep up with those weekly. The last series I kept up with weekly, I don't even remember what it was, to be honest. Liberators? I'll be keeping up with that weekly. You guys can expect discussion in Discord. You can expect all of Dan, Mike, Adrian. Well, maybe not Adrian. I don't know if Adrian reads.
You don't read.
Adrian's a card game player, so are we. But you can expect all of Dan, Mike, and myself to read Liberator. And we're going to be talking about it because we're going to be like, yo, do you see how Owen smacked? Yo, you saw how it left off? You saw how that what is Wargrave going to do? Is he going to play Gaia Force? Is he going to Digimon? Like, I don't know. I don't even know how it's going to go, but it's just going to be so much fun to talk about. It's just an extra dynamic, bro.
For sure. Yeah.
All I'm going to say is,
for those people that keep saying like Galactimon can't be Wargrave and blah, 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 I guarantee that Liberators given brand new support for it to be like maybe not busted, but it's gonna make it like a super playable and make sense. Oh, okay, I can see how it be Wargreymon.
But you know, there's another thing to consider, right? They're probably not using X antibody forms. We saw a regular Wargrave there. Now, I'm not saying that the deck is like immediately better with the X antibody forms. However, that being said, would you play against Galacticmon in a tournament and not use Greymon X?
Nope.
And Owen was probably playing a Greymon X-less version of War Greymon. And because at some point in the story, we may see, X antibody be a thing. Look at these X lines. Look at how powerful it makes them. We get X antibody set 2, X record part 2. Like, he wasn't,
so much
we
they
know
could go
he
with
wasn't, we know he wasn't playing Starter Deck War Greymon. But we also know, for all intents and purposes, he wasn't playing a full-blown War Grey X deck. So Galacticmon is just Galacticmon. He's just playing a bunch of Vemmons and he's trying to climb his way into a Galacticmon, And to Dan's point, yeah, he's built up. There's probably new support that makes that deck a lot better than it currently is. But Greymon, also, that War Grey deck also was most likely not playing Greymon X. He probably had no protection. So it's easy to say Galacticmon, blow up War Grey game, But obviously, we're going to see a lot of things different in Liberators because, like we said, like X antibody forms aren't going, probably not going to be a thing for a while. It's all going to be a bunch of base forms. So there's going to be a lot more base decks. If you see Digimon that you like Gallantmon, for example, let me take that back. We probably won't see Gallantmon for a minute.
I don't think so.
So I'll just continue using War Grey. War Grey is not going to see any of his X antibody stuff for a hot minute. Owen dropped Agumod's ass for that pink glitchy thing.
Yeah. So it seems like
know what that Digimon is.
Seems like whatever that new Digimon is, I feel like, because he feels very antagonist to me, like the way he looks, like maybe not like evil, but maybe like Kaiba-esque, right?
Right.
And like, I bet that pink Digimon is like probably like, I'm the reason you're gonna be stronger now. Use me. I am better. You know what I'm saying? Like probably like a little conniving, a little, secretive maybe. Kind of like if you watch the movie Ukumon was in the beginning, in my opinion. I still think there's something wrong with that Ukumon, but that's another conversation for another day. But I think that's where it's going to lead because the pink anytime you see digitalization looking thing around a Digimon and Digimon, usually bad news. Usually it's bad news. So I wouldn't be surprised if it's something along the lines like that. Like he found it and was like, oh, I'm stronger now. And he's like kind of like going like bad or something. I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised though.
I do want to say, in the PV that we saw that has the Imperial Dramon, we're seeing Shoto with the Teromon.
Yeah.
We're seeing Arisa with her Shumon. We're seeing that girl with Ghostmon. And
I think Owen is on there, right?
I was going to say, Owen is up at the front with his little pink thing.
Yeah.
I don't see Zenith, for what it's worth.
Yeah.
It's just Owen, girl with Ghostmon, or is that Soulmon?
Maybe Zenith is the one I'm thinking that's more of the antagonist, actually.
Right.
Galacticmon is a giant evil. Galacticmon is a giant evil Digimon in Digimon World 3, and Venmon, trying to take over the world. So maybe like he was persuaded with a Venmon that like took over his mind or some shit.
Yeah, it's entirely possible. There's fighter mode, dark virus, whatever.
The virus mode, yeah.
Whatever he's doing here. There's a paladin mode up in the air. No Galacticmon in sight. No Vemmon or anything, but Zenith also is in here. So what does this mean?
Yeah.
Like, anti-hero turn hero type thing. Like I'm excited. I'm so excited. I'm never going to stop gushing over Liberator.
Yeah, I can't wait.
With that in mind, I think we've talked about all we've had to talk about in regards to both Unification and Liberator. So we're going to wrap it up there, call it a day for pod. I'm so excited. I guess the question that we're going to leave you guys with for our Q&A, at the bare minimum, I'll think about a poll later, but how do you guys feel about Liberator? What are you excited for? What are you excited to see? What are the things that excites you about this? I'm very interested to know. Maybe I'll ask a question about Unification for the poll or whatever, but that's neither here nor there. I'll think about that after. Anyways, that is it for today's episode of DigiPod, the digital podcast. So thank you guys for listening, And until we talk to you guys the next time, peace out.
Catch you on the next one.